Hi, it's Mama G and Web3 on digital parenting. And welcome to the latest chat. I haven't got my daughter with me today. I just wanted to do a little bit of a news update and just get you on track with where things are going in the next few weeks. I don't know if you're in the UK or whether it's beyond the UK that you may have been able to see this, but the Netflix acclaimed series Adolescence has certainly got the whole of the internet talking. It's not an easy watch. And, it's a 13-year-old boy who has got himself into very serious trouble. And apart from the fact it's a very important storyline about a child who commits a murder, a 13-year-old young man whose family have absolutely no clue about the capacity this boy has to have committed such a serious crime. And obviously that's an important storyline in itself. The fact, though, that much more comes out about the whole culture in which this boy is immersed, the school, the social media back chat that goes on in his life, his isolation from his parents, and the fact that they just realise they have no idea who he really is. These are really pressing issues, and obviously I am not going to start commentating on that because there's plenty out there which is more informed and can take you in a number of directions. What hit me, though, was the sadness, the hopelessness. I have yet to see the final piece, the final part of the four, but already I can tell that there's a gap that's been left in our consciousness, really, unless we have some kind of foundational faith, some kind of belief in how to make a child grow up in the way he should go. It's almost as if it's not politically correct anymore to guide a child too firmly in case you influence them with your own prejudices and biases. And we've gone so far away from the responsibility of having to help a child to understand the difference between right and wrong, that we have a generation of some of that generation who are really struggling to know what the kind of the far extent is of good behavior, but what is bad behavior. We have a cultural crisis with knife crime, certainly in America with gun crime. This thing, as I say, that it's left me with is a realization that with all the noise it's generated and all the conversations in the digital space by many people in my age group, I would say, by many people who are alarmed as parents or grandparents, that this could happen to what seems like an ordinary family. But I want to ask the question, what is an ordinary family? Have we got a very different kind of ordinary than we would have had, say, 50 years ago? Could this have happened then? Yes, in a very, very small minority of families, but now so easily much more likely. The gap that this conversation leaves is that we don't really have anything much to offer except to take away devices from our children, to ban them from being in their rooms on their own for too long, to restrict them maybe from being with the wrong crowd, cutting down the number of hours of screen time. And these are all useful in themselves, but they don't put anything else in its place. You know that I have been building a call really to help parents, carers, guardians who might need some help and guidance, not to access the resources, because there's lots of resources out there and I'm never going to cover all of that, but to just have a friend, someone in their situation as a parent or grandparent, which I am, to have with a worldview of Christianity, with a biblical faith in the staying and saving grace of Jesus Christ, that can strengthen and embed us in a strong way as people who navigate this world, not only in the real space, but in the digital space, so that we have a set of values and a set of principles that are based on a truth that we espouse as absolute truth. This isn't what anyone or everyone wants to hear, but if it's what you would like to know about, I do think that the time has come for those who are floundering to know where to turn for the wisdom to navigate life, not just real life, which is complex enough, but the other layer of this, what can seem an insidious influence in our homes that we have no control over, that we barely know how to set digital setting controls over, never mind the emotional, psycho-spiritual, social controls that we need to be able to exercise when other voices, and yes, we'll mention the ones that this program has raised, the voice of people like Andrew Tate and his brother, the whole idea of the incel movement, the secretive language that comes with the emoticons that adults don't all know or interpret or understand. That in itself is at the part of the answer for us to really make ourselves aware of all these influences and understand the meanings and understand our children's world's view and how they are being discipled by influences that we have not chosen. But the real answer for many of us who know there is nowhere else we'll find this solid truth, solid guidance, firm foundation, and I offer it to you. I offer it to believing parents and carers, and I offer it as well, coming from one who has built a life that is often referred to and even testified of. People see in me a groundedness, a stability, a gentleness. And I don't say that with any great claim of my own, but I attribute that to the fact that I have built my life on Christ and have really consistently let the Bible lead my life choices, build my mental life, my emotional life, my choices. And I'm not one, I'm one of millions. And this is something which is available. This is something which can help, which can teach. And those of you who maybe know and share this faith and know that this is what will fill that gap, where that big black hole of fear, uncertainty, and threat and hopelessness has opened up between us and our children. If you want and you know that this is truly something you could use right now, I want to invite you to subscribe to Mama G and Web3 on digital parenting, to the YouTube channel where you can find some previous screenings as well. But also coming up soon, there'll be an Eventbrite meeting that I will host, and I will share how you can become involved in this community. I want to offer to you a free PDF, a guide of the values of that community. And yes, we expect you to believe or want to adhere and find out about and follow some of these grounding faith beliefs that will equip and establish you in your parenting, in your caring, in your guardianship, wherever that comes through, maybe your own blood relatives, or in a more casual arrangement, or maybe as a youth leader, for instance. Wherever that responsibility lies, you know that a gulf is widening between us and the next generation. It frightens us. We hate to see those dear children slipping away out of our reach and choosing for themselves a future they haven't really decided on, which is not going to be a good outcome. So as a Christian, as a believer of 45 years now, as a mum of 2 adult children, as a grandparent for the first time of a 3-month-old, seeing my daughter soften as she becomes a mum, seeing that little baby coming into a world which is now going to be entirely for her lifetime, both virtual and physical. I want to offer this 3-dimensional way, which is including the spiritual, which is giving you that firm foundation which is giving you a hope, which is an anchor that goes beyond any of this stuff and roots itself firmly in a faith that will guide and that will establish and will give you resilience, both you as a parent and carer and your child as they grow into and see how you can model that lifestyle, how they want to establish themselves in your footsteps as well. And this can happen, and it does happen. I've seen it in families right across the board where choices that have been their own have been helped along the way very firmly by the choices their parents made. And parents will always reproduce who they are. So it is incumbent upon us to make sure we know how to disciple ourselves. We know how to allow really fabulous influences into our lives and not destructive ones. And for it not to become a fighting ground and a battleground between us and our children, by being with them, by talking about these things. You know, all the experts who are now writing on this, who don't necessarily come from a Christian perspective, but they have very, very good insights into what the social research is saying about the impacts of the smartphone and screens upon our next generation. They can see it unfolding very clearly. We have another layer of insight and another layer of wisdom that we can bring. And that's my special contribution. That, if you like, is my USP, that I'm interested in the digital futures of our children. And I bring the ability to stand alongside them as a faith-filled believer, as a mama, as a model of the Christian faith. I'm still learning how that works itself out in the 21st century, of course, but bringing my wisdom of 25 years into this century and the 20 odd before that in the last century, well, we can only help. We cannot hinder, but we can only help the next generation to build really upstanding lives and be resilient in the face of reality and virtuality and augmented reality and deception and deceit, all becoming confused with each other. We need help, and we need to be the ones who lead in that. So from Mama G and Web3, who is building a community of what I call digital disciples. If you would like to be one of those, if you want to be on the inside of a community who will stand with each other, pray with each other, support one another in our leading of the next generation, whether that be your own children or those in your world for some reason or other, we will be able to lead in this particular way and be a great source of support to one another. So I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, look out for the Eventbrite invitation link, and I will be also posting to all of my email list. If you would like to get in on that, then put your DM into the message below to me, direct at support@makefunoffaith.com. I'm not giving you a particular link away to subscribe to right now because all my automations are up for review. I'm in the middle of a very big piece of work, integrating everything together with a bit of a revamp on some of my copy and my particular focus, because I'm convinced more than ever that Christians, we need to step into this widening gulf between us and our children and their children. So I look forward to this becoming a regular weekly live peer conversation. One thing I will be asking is that you agree to show up on screen, on camera, with microphone. We are going to be real with each other, and we're going to be able to bring our pains and our gains. So I'll see you on the inside. Thank you.